Nobody has ever won the top 5 leagues. There's no trophy for it. No ceremony, no vote, not even an official name. Ask a football executive to define it and you'll get a shrug. And yet everyone, pundits, broadcasters, your mate at the pub names the exact same 5 leagues every time. That's not a coincidence. That's a system quietly deciding which countries get to be rich, which clubs get to be famous, and which get locked outside. Here's how it actually works. The 5, England's Premier League, Spain's La Liga, Germany's Bundesliga, Italy's Serie A, France's Ligue 1. For the last 2 decades, this exact group has sat above every other country in Europe. Nobody else has come close. One structural detail before we go further, because it matters for everything. After, none of these 5 is a closed shop. Finish at the bottom of the table and you get relegated to the 2nd division. Win the 2nd division and you get promoted up. Roughly a fifth of each league turns over every single year. That churn feeds straight into the coefficient too. An established club having a poor season in Europe, or a newly promoted side sneaking into a European spot, nudges the whole country's ranking up or down, but top isn't a feeling. It's a number. UEFA European football's governing body runs a scoreboard called the coefficient. Every European club competition feeds it. A win earns points, a draw earns fewer, progressing a round earns more. Add up every point earned by every club from a country, and you get a single ranking for that entire nation. Rank high enough, and your country is rewarded with more spots in next season's Champions League. Rank low, and you get fewer. No committee, no vote, just results, tallied year after year, whether you like the outcome or not. Here's the mechanism in actual numbers. A win in the Champions League league phase is worth 2 points to a club's coefficient. A draw is worth 1. Reach the round of 16, the quarter-finals, the semi-finals or the final, and you add a bonus on top of that for every single round survived. Do that with enough clubs, enough seasons in a row, and your country's average climbs. Here's the part most fans skip past. More Champions League spots means more matches against Europe's best. More matches means more broadcast money, because TV pays for glamour, not guarantees. More money buys better players. Better players win more matches. Winning earns more coefficient points. More points earn more spots next year. It's not a straight line. It's a loop. It's also why the world's biggest transfer fees increasingly move sideways from one of these 5 leagues to another instead of arriving from outside them. The money to compete for that talent mostly only exists inside the loop. Now, watch it work in real time since 2024-25. UEFA rewards the 2 best performing countries of that single season with a bonus 5th Champions League place the following year. England has already claimed one of those extra spots. That's the coefficient rewarding success with more chances to earn even more success. Automatically, no debate required. So here's the uncomfortable part. These 5 leagues aren't on top because they're the best. They became the best because they got rich. First, then being rich made them better, and being better made them richer. Same reward, compounding every year, whether the rest of Europe likes it or not. Now rewind, because this wasn't always true. Nottingham Forest won back-to-back European Cups in 1979 and 1980. Ajax won it in 1995 with a squad built almost entirely in their own academy. As late as 2004, Porto, coached by a young Jose Mourinho, lifted the Champions League trophy, then the door quietly shut. Since Porto in 2004, every single Champions League winner across more than 20 consecutive seasons has come from those same 5 leagues. Not 4, not 6, 5. Portugal and the Netherlands still produce brilliant footballers. They just don't get to keep them. Porto, Benfica, Ajax became finishing schools, develop the talent, sell it to the big 5, repeat. That's what the loop looks like once it's had 20 years to run, and the 5 leagues themselves don't run on identical rules. Germany's Bundesliga still enforces 50+1 club members have to hold the majority voting stake, which is why outside owners can't simply buy a Bundesliga club outright the way they can in the other 4. It slows the money down slightly. It hasn't stopped Bayern Munich from winning the league in all but a handful of the last 20 seasons. Same loop, just running through a members' committee instead of a boardroom, but the fortress has cracks. First, the order inside the top 5 keeps shifting, and it moves for concrete reasons, not vibes. Italy ran European football through the 90s and into the 2000s. Until 2006's Calciopoli match-fixing scandal stripped Juventus of their titles, dropped them into Serie B, and gutted Italian clubs' coefficient points for years. Spain filled that exact gap. Real Madrid and Barcelona alone combined to win 6 of the 10 Champions Leagues handed out across the 2010s, enough by themselves to carry an entire country's ranking. Right now, by the latest UEFA numbers, England sits on top, with Italy, Spain, Germany and France stacked underneath in that order. Check again in 5 years. It'll have moved again. Second, even inside the fortress, upsets happen. In 2016, Leicester City, fighting relegation 12 months earlier, won the Premier League. No superstar signings, no rewritten wage bill. Money buys the highest floor in football. It doesn't buy a guaranteed ceiling, which brings us to right now. League One usually gets mocked as the runt of the 5-1 dominant club, everyone else there to make up the numbers. That reputation has an exact starting point, 2011. When Qatar Sports Investment bought Paris Saint-Germain and almost overnight gave one French club a budget the rest of League One couldn't dream of matching. The loop, kick-started deliberately from the outside in a single transfer window, 14 years on, the payoff arrived. This May, Paris Saint-Germain beat Arsenal on penalties in Budapest to win back-to-back Champions League titles. The first French club ever to win it once, now the first to win it twice in a row. The weakest of the Big Five just produced the best team on the continent. The loop doesn't care which country you're from or how it got started. It only cares whether you can keep feeding it. So that's the whole trick. The top 5 was never an award. It's a coefficient, a scoreboard built from 20 years of results, handing Champions League spots to whoever performs, which brings in money, which buys performance, which earns more spots. England, Spain, Germany, Italy and France didn't get chosen. They built a loop and fed it long enough that it started feeding them back. Every other country in Europe is playing the same game on a fraction of the budget, waiting for their own Porter moment. Since 2004, nobody's had one. The game didn't change. You did. You're welcome. Subscribe if you like this. It really means a lot.